Good morning. I'm Janie Parrish with the Wadsworth Area Chamber of Commerce. And guess what? We're going to get some information today right from City Hall about the upcoming levy that's an EMS levy. And we're going to be talking to Matt Hiscock, who's the Director of Public Safety. So good morning, Matt.
Hi, Janie. Thanks for making time for me today.
Absolutely. And you know what? This is so important to our community. So we want to get all of the information about the levy. So if you can just tell us what's going on and what we need to do and what the money is going to be used for, we would greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely, Janie. Thank you. On behalf of the men and women of the Wadsworth EMS department, we really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today and talk to our community. Our current levy is set to expire December 31st of this year. So we have put on the ballot and asked our community for support for a new levy. The levy is sort of a combination levy. It's a renewal in the amount of 2.5 mils plus a 0.5 mil increase. That sometimes makes people nervous, so let me explain why we did that. The 2.5 mil renewal is exactly what we have now, and that's important for us to make sure that we can continue operations. But we realized over the last levy cycle that not only are call volumes increasing, but our population is increasing. The types of calls that we're dealing with are more manpower intensive, and the demographic of our community continues to trend towards older folks. Older folks tend to use EMS services more than younger folks, and so we needed to do something different to prepare not only for what we're currently seeing, but what we anticipate seeing in the next 5 years. That's what the 0.5 mil increase is all about. The reality is we need more full-time staffing, Janie, and our EMS levy is the primary provider of funding for both our operations, which includes people costs, paramedics, EMTs, advanced EMTs, but also our operational based costs, which include everything from equipment to heart monitors to CPR machines, all the way down to some of the uniforms that our folks wear. All of those things come from our EMS levy. In addition, the capital expenses of the EMS department also come from the levy. Those are more intensive capital projects, everything from a new fire station that also houses EMS folks, all the way to replacement of our advanced life support ambulances. So the EMS levy is all encompassing for our particular department. What many people don't realize, as I've been out in the community and talking to folks about our EMS levy, is that the EMS department receives no money from the general fund. So your income tax dollars does not pay for EMS services. The EMS services that we provide in our community are solely provided by the levy and two other advances that we think are a modern approach to providing for EMS services. And those include things like a contractual relationship to provide EMS services with the township that surrounds the city. That's beneficial for us as well as our neighbors in the township because we are able to provide a high quality of EMS emergency care for those folks in our community. And we're able to benefit from that having a contractual relationship which pays for those expenses and helps us pay some of the costs of city expenses also for providing the service. In addition, we take the modern approach of also charging for some fees for services. Well, why do we do that if we also have a tax in place? Well, it's important to note that if all we did was rely upon an an EMS levy-based tax to provide for the service, that millage would be greatly increased to what we're proposing. I mean, we would almost have to double, some might even say triple the amount of millage if we were to solely put the burden of EMS services on taxpayers. We don't want to do that. We don't believe that's the modern approach. So we take a diversified approach by saying we all benefit for having it there if we need it. That's your tax that you pay. Most of us who use it also benefit from its use, so we should pay our fair share. That's the fee-based schedule. And then any services that we provide to those outside of our community, the township residents, also pay their fair share. So we try to split the cost of those services throughout the different forms and users that we provide services to, and it has worked beneficially for the department. The real issue for us now, Janie, is we're at a crossroads. We are realizing that we have many more second, third, and fourth EMS calls. What I mean by that is at different times during the day, we might have crews out working one particular call and another call comes in. That second crew that we have on staff goes out and handles that call. But we're also seeing increases in third and fourth ambulance calls where we don't have folks stationed at the stations, if you will, to prepare for those things. We believe that it's time now to add to our strength levels that we have who are at the station ready and prepared to answer our calls for help and emergency needs. That's really where the increase, and that's the importance of making a decision to move forward with the levy now, both in a renewal and an increased capacity. Let's talk a little bit maybe about the cost to individuals. That's always something that's important to folks.
Oh gosh, that's always important.
It is, and rightfully so. We all have budgets that we live within, and you have to manage your money to make sure that you can pay for all of not only city services, but everything you and your family may need. So the proposed levy as it currently is will cost a property owner, it's a property-based levy, approximately $80.14 per $100,000 of appraised value. There's a lot of confusion, in my opinion, about appraised value, assessed values, what the state did with the triennial assessment of property values in our community. And let me try to draw some clarification for you. We all received that information in the mail not too long ago about our property values, and most of us increased our property values. And people immediately thought, wow, my taxes are going to increase. The first thing you need to understand is on the 2.5 mil renewal part of the EMS levy, your taxes are not increasing. That is the same amount that will actually be assessed per property tax bills to everyone in our community. That amount will stay the same. What will change is the increased amount, which would amount to about $17.50 more a year if this levy was to pass. And that's what's going to help us pay for some of the additional things that we need. So of the $80.14 per $100,000 of appraised value, the increase is about $17.50 a year for our particular EMS levy. And it's important that we're able to realize those increases to pay for some of the increased services that we're prepared to put forth as the levy moves forward.
You know, with being our office at the chamber is downtown, I am amazed the number of emergency calls that go through the city every single day. And I was talking to I just love Bruce Darlington, one of our council people, and he told me the other night he was in a meeting and there were at City Hall, and there were 3 calls that went, emergency calls, just in the time that he was in that meeting. And so we've increased our population, you know, we're especially building new homes. And I think that if I've never had to call 999. You know what? We're doing this at 9 a.m. I don't think I'm ready. Yeah. But anyways, I've never had to call 911. But I have to tell you, I think if I did have to call 911, I'd be awfully glad I voted for that levy. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right, Janie. And you make a good point into Mr. Darlington's comments. We're averaging right now, 2022, October of 2022, about 8 calls a day. So you being close to downtown when your offices or anyone, I think many of our folks in our community hear the ambulances and the sirens throughout the day, 8 calls a day and increasing. You know, in 2021, we had our highest call volumes. We nearly had 3,000 EMS calls. Based upon our run reports year to date, I think we're going to break that 3,000 call ceiling this year. And with the growth in our community and the continued boom in economic development that we're having, the reality is that it's my job to plan for the provision of those services. And it is clear to me, as well as Chief Linder and the other administrators within the EMS department, that we need to prepare for increased call volumes in excess of 3,000 calls a year. That's a lot of calls for a department our size.
Yes. And on top of that, I think that people look at those kind of things when they're looking where to relocate their family. Yeah. So
you're absolutely right, Katie.
Yeah. And if you have a strong EMS and response team, safety forces, that does nothing but help to increase the value of your home too. Now, I didn't mean to say increase the value because we don't ever want to do that. But I mean, when you're selling your home, people look at those kind of things. When you're buying a home, people look at those kind of things. You know, what are the services that your city offers and how effective are they? Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Janie. And of course, I'm biased. I put a lot of importance in public safety and providing those services to our community. But I think it all starts there. If a person or a business is not safe in their community, then where do they go from there in terms of their daily operations in a business or your daily life at home? If you don't feel safe, if you don't have the provision of safety services, whether it be EMS, fire, or police services, to make sure that that's the backbone of your existence, it goes downhill from there. So that is true. And I know, I have heard from people, I get the calls from people who are interested in purchasing a home in our community and ask about everything from EMS support and fire support to how many police calls occur in this neighborhood. So people are out there, people are educated about the services we provide. And really, as a suburban community with our electric division, our communication divisions, we understand that there's a high bar set for provision of governmental services and community services. And our EMS department, the men and women of our EMS and fire department, they really are committed to that high bar and high level of service, and they do a wonderful job in those provisions.
Second to none. I would put them up against any other department. And I do have to tell you, this is something else that businesses look for too, when they're considering where they're going to locate their business. They have to make sure that they can keep their employees safe and their business safe. So it's very important what EMS does. It's important what all of our safety forces do. So we really encourage you to vote yes on November 8th for the EMS levy. Our chamber board has endorsed the levy because we feel it is that important to for our community, for our businesses, for our families. Just it's that important.
Absolutely, Janie. As you know, emergencies and emergency medical needs don't just happen at home, and many people work here in our community. So the businesses that are here, that are served by people, anyone might need our service at any given moment of the day. And that's why it's important to have those folks on staff, enough folks on staff at all times to make sure we can answer that alarm, that call for assistance when we need to. And the EMS levy is a primary provider of the services for the EMS department. It's what we depend upon. It's our lifeline. So we agree. We think it's vitally important. And we're asking for the community's support on November 8th of our EMS levy.
Well, you sure have our support, Matt. Thank you, because we know minutes are important when you have an emergency. Every second is important. Yeah.
That's absolutely correct.
Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate you taking the time to explain the levy. Sometimes when you see it all written out, you're like, I'm not really sure. So we appreciate you clarifying everything, and truthfully, thank you for all you do, and thank you for your wonderful, wonderful professional staff. We appreciate them.
Thanks so much, Janie.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you at the polls.
Absolutely.
Okay. All righty. Thank you.